The Department of Government Efficiency, the agency run by Elon Musk to slash federal spending, could become a reality here in Georgia. Some state lawmakers wonder if something similar might help cut red tape and curb spending here. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon live at the state capitol for us. So Doug, how close would this be to the federal version of DOGE?
Yeah, good evening, Carly. Well, like the federal version of DOGE, the state version would also look to slash budgets and cut unnecessary spending. But more so than that, what it would really look to do is cut regulations and make starting and keeping a business a little bit more expensive, somewhere maybe between even 20 and 30% more expensive here in Georgia. And for that reason, Senate Democrats and Republicans actually seem to be on the same page here. Democratic State Senator Josh McLaurin and Republican State Senator Steve Gooch may not agree on much, but the idea for a state-level government efficiency plan, that's appealing to both of them.
Look, it's a critical issue for small businesses, and that's why we're talking about it.
Introduced by the state's Republican Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, Senate Bill 28, also called the Red Tape Rollback Act, would require every state agency to reassess its spending every 4 years. But more than that, it would require them to do the same thing with regulations that sometimes raise the cost of starting and running a business by as much as 30%.
I can get behind stuff like that, right? That's good common sense legislation, and especially at a time when inflation has made things hard for small businesses, we want to give small businesses all the tools they need to succeed and not crush them under a mound of paperwork.
McLaurin doesn't want the state version to look anything like the federal department, which has come under fire recently for overstepping its authority and making unnecessary cuts to important programs. But Republican Senate Leader Steve Gooch likes what President Trump and DOGE head and tech billionaire Elon Musk are doing to get rid of unnecessary spending. He wants Georgia to follow that model.
Anytime you can reduce the size of government and you can eliminate government waste, fraud, and abuse, that's a good thing for the taxpayer. And there's fat in every agency between Washington and Main Street, USA. Federal government, state government, and local governments all need to do this. We all need to trim our fat.
And this bill would also require the state's audit department to present a report to lawmakers on the impacts to small business any time that they introduce a bill. It was actually brought before state legislators last year. It did not pass. From the state capitol, Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.